Hi, everyone. So the government has just announced new category-based draws and for 2026. So let's get into it. Zia, first, let's talk about what actually category-based draws for Express Entry are.
Yeah, certainly. So when we're talking about the express entry system, the first step is creating a profile going into the pool. But the more important and the very definitive part about this program is making sure that you're able to get out, and that means getting an invitation to apply. Now, IRCC provides invitations in three ways. They do general draws, which means that everyone in the pool is considered. There are program-specific draws, which means that they're targeting candidates in, for example, Canadian Experience class. And then there are category-based draws. So what this means is IRCC has outlined certain priorities and they do draws that are targeted towards each of these priorities. Now, when we look at the categories, one of them is for French language proficiency, and the rest of the categories are all based on occupations. So this means that in each of the remaining categories, there's a list of eligible occupations, and you need to have work experience in one of those occupations in order to be eligible to be selected in that category.
So the government has kept several categories that have been there already since last year. They kept the French language proficiency, those people who can get a score of the CLB sevens in each language category skill level. They've kept the healthcare social services occupations, the education occupations, the STEM occupations, and the trade occupations. Now, one thing to note though, there is a change for all of this, which is now, before you had to have 6 months of work experience in the last 3 years. Now that's been changed to 12 months of work experience in that occupation in the last 3 years. Okay. Now, Zia, what are the new categories that they've added now?
Yeah, for sure. So we saw back in December, there was the announcement of the physicians with Canadian work experience category. And then today we saw the announcement for the transport occupations, senior managers with Canadian work experience, researchers with Canadian work experience, and skilled military recruits. So those are the new categories that we're going to see draws for in 2026.
Right. So let's first talk about skilled military recruits. I think those are going to be very limited to those who have job offers from the Canadian Armed Forces. The transport occupations is interesting. We used to have one a couple of years ago, but that was for truck drivers. They took that away last year. Truck drivers are still not in there, but I think there's an emphasis on air flight and aircraft. There's some of the categories. Zia, could you go through some of those occupations?
Yeah, so the occupations that are included in the transport occupations category include pilots, um, aircraft mechanics, technicians, aircraft instrument mechanics, and automotive service technicians.
Excellent. Now, let's get to the favorite part of it, which is the three new categories for those people who have Canadian work experience. Now, when they say Canadian work experience, it's not necessarily that it's the same kind of work experience that you have to have in order to qualify for the Canadian experience class. That is this kind of work experience. It looks like you can use self-employed work experience. You can use work experience that you gained while you are studying in order to qualify to get into the in-demand stream. The medical doctors, the minister did say that they're going to do a draw this week on the medical doctors with Canadian work experience. So Zia, could you explain a little bit more about this category?
For sure. So, yeah, the physicians with Canadian work experience, it's a list of three occupations. So, it's your general practitioners, your surgery specialists, and your specialists in clinical laboratory med. And like you mentioned, the minister did make the announcement earlier today that we can expect to see a draw for this category, the first draw for this category this week. And
Very
so it's, yeah, for individuals, like you mentioned earlier, with 12 months of work experience in Canada in one of these occupations.
So you have to have been practicing as one of these physicians in Canada, not just outside of Canada, in Canada. Okay, wonderful. The second one is the researchers. Researchers are very interesting because now the categories are you can be research assistants or teaching assistants, and also the academic professors as well. This means that PhD students could also qualify because if they've been doing TARA work, and it's not, you don't even have to have been doing the work full time. It could add your part-time hours together to qualify for this. And so it used to be back in the day, almost a decade ago, there used to be an advantage for PhD students to qualify. Now we're back, and we're able to have this available for a lot of PhD students as well. And then finally, we have the senior managers with Canadian work experience. And this is where I think the government wanted to sort of replace, before you used to have 200 points for senior managers for arranged employment. They took that away a couple years ago, but now I think this is their way to sort of allow people who are at the 000, three zeros, 00012, 0013, 0014, 0015 to qualify. And I think there's a lot of opportunities here for those people who have started their own business, even though their work experience is self-employed, they could also qualify if their work experience is at that level as well. Wonderful. Well, we're looking forward to having you guys come and apply with us if you're under this category. If you think that you might, please come and join us soon. Take care.
Take care. Thank you.